Yeah, hello guys, Cloudie here checking in with Lost Ark today, the Korean ARPG that has taken the West by storm. And this is a video that I've been meaning to make for quite some time now, but I also wanted to wait until I had more experience with the game. So about 1 month in, I felt like this is a good time to actually make this video. Now, for those of you who like to skip ahead, I will just answer the question in the title. Yeah, I absolutely think that this is a great game to play. I'm still absolutely hooked after 1 month into the game. So if you are looking for a new RPG, online RPG game to play with others, this one is free to play, so definitely worth trying out. You will need a PC for it though. But if you want to know actually why I think this is a good game, then stay a while and listen, and I'll give you all the reasons. Now, to give you a quick introduction to the game, I said it is an ARPG game. I guess you could compare it to like Diablo or Path of Exile, but it's also very different from those. Coming from Korea, developed by Smilegate RPG, and in the West, it is released by Amazon Game Studios. Now, the game is free to play, and which probably leads you to the question, but if it's free to play, then how pay to win is it? And the answer is it is pay to win in a sense, but it is also not. You can pretty much reach anything, everything in the game without paying a dime. It doesn't have these extreme paywalls or pay to really pay to win mechanics. You will progress faster, of course, if you spend money, but I think it's perfectly fine for a free to play game. So I definitely recommend it, and nobody should be put off by the free-to-play nature of the game itself. It had a bit of a rough start in the West thanks to Amazon's miscalculations, I guess, but in a month it kind of stabilized, so it's a lot more playable now, and we can have a good time with it. Let's just kind of summarize what the game is about. So or how it looks like. Now, for an RPG game, I think it's kind of important to look at like looks and graphics and sounds and story. So let's take those into one bundle. Now, the looks, the footage is provided from Amazon Game Studios, but this is how the game actually looks like. You are seeing a boss fight right now. So the looks are pretty amazing. On Unreal Engine, I think this is fairly cool. As you can see, the skills are very flashy, the characters are looking good. There are these epic events that really look good. And what I really did enjoy is that the game doesn't do this bait and switch kind of stuff where you just get to see some cool stuff at the beginning and then it never happens again, and all you get to do is like collect milk for characters or whatever. It does keep up with these things. There are cutscenes coming in every now and then. There are these special mechanics in dungeons where you feel like you were in the Inception movie and stuff like that. So it's pretty great, and the characters can be either cute or hot or very manly or whatever you like. You can have both the waifus and the husbandos, depends which you like. I think the looks are pretty amazing. There are such sceneries. Sometimes you will see this in the footage. It's just really great. So definitely thumbs up for the graphics. Now the sounds. Music interestingly plays a big part of the game, and I really like the soundtrack of it. It's one of the games where I did not turn off the soundtrack while playing, and that's kind of rare for me. The character voices are also quite alright. You can choose various types. I personally really love how my sorceress just screeches spells sometimes. It sounds cool. I haven't heard that in games yet where spellcasting was that cool. Now I just need heal for my paladin, I guess. Yeah, so sounds are definitely alright. The battle sounds are also good. And one thing that is interesting is the game's connection to music. That a lot of spells or are like songs that you play, and you will be playing them a lot. Now these are short melodies, but it's still kind of funny that how it works. There is like classical music in the game in some stories and stuff. You get to hear those, so that's quite interesting. I definitely like the music. The one thing I didn't like so much was the English voice acting. Now, there is voice acting in the game, which is already a big thumbs up, but sometimes, as it is usually with the English VAs, it's just not really there. It's either sounds utterly bored, like they weren't really into doing stuff, or overly dramatized, where people are like always talking in this shaky voice, and then when everyone does it, it kind of feels unreal and just, yeah, not so good. Um, so yeah, Less voices for you, but I think it's alright, and generally it's well made. It's just that the VAs could have been better, I think. But that's something I'm used to from Western games anyway, or Western releases anyway. Now moving on to the stories of the game, or the story of the game. It kind of starts with this classical, you are the chosen one destined to save the world from all the darkness and bad stuff, yada yada. It's fairly simple in that regard. The good people are usually very good and the bad are very bad, although it kind of changes a little bit over time. Now most of us are used to Asian games not really having stories or just having like a shell of a story. And compared to that, I think Lost Ark is fairly decent in its storytelling. The storytelling itself is amazing, I think, um, with how it goes. One complaint that I think often you get to meet characters. Like the base structure is as you move ahead in the game that you get to meet some of the good guys and then you hang out with them and then you solve the issues there and then the chapter is done and then you move on to the next one where you again get to meet a different good guy and solve the stuff with them and it's you don't really get too deep into the relationship with those characters. And so their stories aren't fleshed out that deeply. So an RPG game could be better in this regard. But as said, the story itself is fair enough. I did enjoy. I mean, and it has some really original moments. Although I have to mention here that the devs were a bit quite literal in taking stuff from other works. I have seen Sephiroth like Space Marines from Warhammer 40k, Gandalf and other Lord of the Rings stuff, and God knows what else. We kind of made a game out of that, just trying to identify the stuff that we have seen before in other works. So yeah, the devs were a bit easygoing with the copy paste there, I guess. But all in all, it's quite original and I quite like it. So I think it's decent enough. Um, and then, of course, we can move on to the gameplay, which is also a very integral and important part of games. So the gameplay itself is something that free-to-play games often don't get right, but I think Lost Ark managed this pretty well. There are plenty of skills to use which are flashy, impactful, and because there is team play, there is strategy to them. So it's not just like you're randomly spamming all your buttons all the time. So there is actual gameplay, which is something if you have been playing mobile games like I did, then you're kind of used to not always having. There is character building. There are so many things to do in the end game. One thing I want to point out is that if you are looking for instant gratification, then there are those parts in the game that can be like that, but it's more of like a long-term kind of building and progressing kind of stuff. But there are so many things to do, and I think it's a lot of fun, from collecting to building your stronghold to doing various daily activities, quests, visiting islands, defeating big bosses, doing raids with your friends that are like what you are used to from MMO games, such as World of Warcraft, for instance. So there is collectibles, there is achievements, there is so many things to do. I think there is rapport to build with NPCs, and then yeah, all kind of stuff. So all in all, I think the gameplay itself is really fun. You can play various alts and have fun with them as well. Um, and maybe the footage shown by Amazon wasn't really the best to show you the actual gameplay itself, but I do think it's a pretty good game. So if you are interested, then do come back. There will be more videos to come. And for now, this has been Cloudie. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.